think is right. And I always wanted that next step. So I get all my paperwork, everything's done. I'm here with Karen McAfee, and it is just 100% incredible. Yeah. Go all the time. And I still, to this day, I still feel like I'm Karen's assistant. I know that sounds really strange, but, like I call her every day and say, "Oh, Miss McAfee, do you need anything?"
I actually thought you were on the phone with her.
I mean,
I was like, oh, I don't want to do
it's just really funny because I call her almost every week. It is a constant phone call, and we bounce ideas off of each other. And,
sure.
And she's teaching 6th grade now here for me at 3 campuses. So it's always like what do you do for this? And what do you do for this? And I want to play this music, and we should do a concert together. And it's just always go. But, she's the orchestra mom. She built this program, and who would not want to just learn from that and just absorb everything? And I have a Karen McAfee Bible that for my student teaching,
Absolutely.
Everything she said, man, I wrote down. And there are days I'll come in and pull it off the shelf and, So it's been pretty incredible.
Yeah.
So
you've got good mentors.
Yeah.
So you talked about a little bit already what and who were your influences in your life to pursue a career in music. So you talked about your middle school and high school teachers and your colleagues. Did you want to expand on any of that?
Yeah, I'll tell you my junior high director, and I think what junior high directors are so awesome, and they have such a difficult job. We all do, but man, tough skin, and just you have to be so incredibly on those junior high kids, because that's really the big development area. And Nicole Pennington was my orchestra director at Bonham Junior High School, and she was the coolest chick I've ever met. She was amazing, and she was very down to earth, but she was our teacher, and that was great. She would say things to us, and she would relate it to like rock music, and then she would play like Jimi Hendrix on the loudspeaker, and it was like a world where I was like, yep, this is it. And she made me fall in love with music in general, and when I went off into high school with Kathy Fishburne and David, they made me love the teaching part of it, wanting to be an educator and wanting to do what they do. And then, further up, being at Tech, having all of those professors there, even more furthering on diving deeper into music and what kids should know and why it's important for them to know that. Yeah. And not just the notes on the page. They have to know in everything. All ties together. But, I also had some of those teachers that were very negative, and I had a private lesson teacher, tell me that, you probably won't do well at Tech, so you might want to go somewhere smaller. And I remember just thinking, okay, well, I'll show you.
Right, yeah.
I'll show you.
Lit a fire underneath you.
And I don't think he did it intentionally, but it sure made me just kind of puff my chest out a little more and try, harder.
Sure.
Because there were some things that I struggled with, and I had some great mentors that were there to really catch me. I remember running into Renee Scarrick's office almost on a weekly basis and just thinking, I just can't do this, I just can't. And her thinking, it's okay. Take a deep breath, let's play some Bach, Yeah. And, but I've, throughout my years, great friends, great mentors, great people who have come into my life, and, I'm still in that process of learning. And I think that's the coolest part about this job. It never stops. The days are not exactly the same, and I love that because it really does keep me on my toes. When I don't know the answer, I tell children, I'm going to find the answer tomorrow. I'm going to have the answer for you. And I think that really is very telling on all the other teachers I've had, I just feel like I haven't achieved that Jedi status yet, but I've had all these amazing, teachers through it that, I'll get there, but it's all been pretty cool to see those teachers teach me. So
that's cool to think about what and why.
Yeah.
Specifically, how did your high school music teachers, you could be with your private lesson and then also with school, influence your decision to pursue a career in music?
I did a lot of just talking with David Golden. And it would be after concerts, or we would have our chamber group, Satin Strings, we would have gigs, and then we'd all go back to the orchestra room and put instruments away, and then I would just sit there and talk to him, like, why do you do this, and why do we play at all these places, and how do you do that, and what's the process of this, and it was just really kind of a picking at him. And, he was very gracious and answered my questions up to a point, It's 10 o'clock, Bo.
I'm locking the door.
Go home. It's 10 o'clock. But, I was always the kid that asked questions. And, my mom always, that was it. I asked questions. Why are we doing that? Why do I have to do this? Do I have to go over here? Why do I have to go over here? Why do I have to put these pants on? That was me constantly. So all through high school, and whenever David or Kathy would, anybody have any questions? I don't know what that means. What does that mean? That symbol right there. I just want to know what it means, and of course everyone's like, oh my gosh, Bill, seriously? It's a trill, like, you know what I mean? Like, and so I just tried my hardest to absorb and ask and absorb. And, I tell my kids all the time, I do a concept and then I scan.
Right.
So if you have any questions, now's your time. Speak now or forever hold your peace. If you don't ask me a question, I'm just going to assume you know it and I'm moving on. And they all kind of raise their hand and go, can you just go over that one more time? But I think that's that foundation they need, they every kid, and I go through every kid, and that's what Kathy and David did. Anybody have any questions? Anybody? If you don't have a question, then we're moving on. And I hated being, the one that was left behind. I always felt like sometimes, like when we were doing like region orchestra sectionals and I just didn't get it, I felt like I was left behind. Like I don't understand this. What is a gliss? What does that mean? How do you do that on an instrument? And why is the line like, what is that? Is that a note? And I had really good friends, upperclassmen, that would help me out. And, there were moments where I'd go in David or Kathy's office and just say, I can't do this. Like, I won't make region. I have no idea how to play this. It's okay. This is how you do it. We're going to work on it, So I've tried to put that in my teaching that, I can't assume that they know it. And I'm so elementary sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, this is a down bow symbol, I know you're 18, but this is a down bow symbol, which means we go down bow, and they're all just kind of roll their eyes and whatever, Mr. Garza, but there's
Sure.
going to be a kid that walks in my program and somebody on some game show is going to say, what's a down bow symbol? Oh, it's a V, like they're not going to know. And then I'm just going to think like, I'm just a fool, I just didn't teach them how. But, they were I just asked questions. That's what I had to do. I had to sink or swim, and
Sure.
I had to swim. I had to.
Had to swim. Was that a self-made credo? Or do you feel like that was because of the program that you were in? Or where do you think that came from?
The program was so prestigious. You talk about
even just the high school itself.
Yes.
Hello, Friday Night Lights.
Yes. Walking into this thinking, I'm going to be part of a humongous orchestra, not like a, 20-piece junior high group. Like, there are going to be winds and brass and percussionists, and it is a massive, I'm not the only viola player, And I remember thinking, like, I will not make it if I just give up. I cannot do that. And all of these seniors that are here, they're looking at me to see how I'm going to do, because I'm just a little baby sophomore, and I was not about that life. I did not want to just be that kid that blended into the background. And so I remember going up to Kathy, and at that point, I was sitting last stand with my best friend. We were last stand viola. And there were, incredible players ahead of us. All-state people and, really amazing. And, here's Bo Garza and my friend Greg, like,
Telemoning it up.